Hi there, my name is Morgan Brisden, and I'm the creator of Center Studio, where I teach people skills to feel more comfortable more often. Most recently, I was asked by an actor here in Atlanta, a fellow teacher, to participate in a project he was doing for actors. He was putting together all the different kinds of techniques that students can study in order to improve their performance. So from Strasberg to Meisner to Alexander technique. And he asked me two questions that I thought would be beneficial for you all, even if you're not a performer, okay? Because I get these questions a lot. So his first question was, why study a technique, right? What is the benefits of studying? And then his other question, which I hear all the time, is how long should somebody study before they see the benefits? And let's start with that one, because I get that one all the time. How long should I study, Morgan? So I often tell people, well, to be honest, I return it with another question. I say, how long would a violinist study the violin, right? How long would a singer take voice lessons, or a piano student take piano lessons, right? It just varies depending on the level of skill that one hopes to achieve or acquire. And that can really vary from person to person. So I oftentimes will compare it to learning a language. I'll say, look, sometimes people are traveling, they're going to Spain or France or where have you, and they say, oh, I want to be able to, order, from a restaurant. I want to be able to ask for directions or be able to, find out what the bathroom is. And so they might take a couple lessons in that language in preparation for going to that country, right? And they just need a couple. They just need to know the basics, the pleases and the thank yous, the where is the loo, However, there are then some other students who say, no, look, I really want to immerse myself in this culture. I want to be able to communicate with this, with these people and find out like what it's like living here and have, more interesting and more in-depth dialogue. Okay, in that case, that student might study Spanish or French longer, right? So it really depends on what you hope to gain from studying. So let's go back to the first question. Why study a technique? So that kind of takes us into what is the Alexander technique, right? It's the skill that I always tell people is learning how to use yourself better in everyday life, okay? And so because of that, that means that there is a wide range of things that this work is applicable to. And so I just thought of a couple of examples based on the students that I'm currently seeing right now, just to show you kind of the range of why somebody might study, right? So for example, I have one student, he's a longtime student who's now doing some running and he stands often for his job. So he said to me, my calves feel like they're a lot tighter and I'd like to look at how I'm running and how I'm standing. And so we're working on a lot of those concerns, right? To see if we can relax those calves even in the midst of a higher intensity workout, or even in just a more immobile activity when he's just standing and not really doing anything, right? And another student, for example, she's recovering from a hip surgery. So she's doing some PT. She's looking at how am I using myself with regard to my exercises that are needed for my recovery, because I don't want to injure myself more. I don't want to injure myself in another area or compensate in some weird ways. So I really want to be mindful of how I'm approaching all of my exercises so that I can have the most optimal recovery after having this surgery, right? Another student, he's just started because he wants to have better posture. I get students like this all the time. They just want to age gracefully, be upright and open and feel good. And so I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. And then lastly, the other student I was thinking about, she recently gave a presentation, which she did awesome, by the way, and it was on a more national stage. So she's not used to doing presentations in that regard. She's, she's typically working more one-on-one, etc. But this was the first time she was presenting, and of course, it had to go, she went big, right? So it was on more of a national stage, and so a lot of concerns of hers were, how am I presenting? And noticing things that were happening in her voice because she had some vocal strain and some issues concerning her voice. So we looked at her breathing and her voice and how she was using herself with regard to when she presented. So you can see that the range is huge. These are just like a small sampling of the many things that you could apply this work to. And it would really depend on what are you interested and where are you at in your life today, which of course, as we all know, is different from tomorrow or the day after or in 10 years, right? So why study a technique? Because you want to be really good at the things you do in your life. And what you do in your life, friend, is different from what Joe does in his life or what Susan does in her life. So it's going to be always different. but I encourage you to try to expand your awareness to say, oh, can I look at how I'm using myself, and is there room for improvement? So I'd love to hear what techniques you use on a regular basis, if you use any, or if you're a student of the Alexander Technique and you've benefited from this work, I'd love to hear what kinds of things you've applied this to in your life. So you can do so by leaving comments at the below here at this video. And if you haven't already, friends, I'd love if you'd subscribe. So you can subscribe to my channel by hitting the button below. Okay, until next time, friends, take care. Ciao.